What happens when pain becomes inheritance? When a parent's unhealed wounds become the silent language their children grow up learning? When a father's anger becomes a son's fear? And a mother's loneliness becomes a daughter's shame. Before we dive into the unimaginable realities behind the scene, you are welcome to Responsible Parenting TVC, Responsible Parenting Tips for Caring Kids. Here we share raw, uncensored, and deeply relatable parenting stories, practical tips, proven strategies, and inspiring lessons to help you raise responsible, confident, and caring children in today's world. Disclaimer: this is an educational content for knowledge and awareness only. Again, I ask you, what happens when pain becomes inheritance? When a parent's unhealed wounds become the silent language their children grow up learning? When a father's anger becomes a son's fear and a mother's loneliness becomes a daughter's shame? In this deeply emotional episode of Responsible Parenting TVC, we explore the generational echoes of pain, how unresolved trauma seeps into our parenting, shaping the hearts of our children long before they can speak. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe now. If you're on Facebook, follow our page, like, comment, and share this video with others who need to hear this truth. And don't forget to turn on your notification bell, because every episode here could save a home, a heart, or a marriage. The story begins in Cape Town, South Africa, in the quiet suburb of Rondebosch. A family of 4, once defined by laughter, now haunted by silence. Naomi, a 39-year-old single mother, has spent most of her life holding her world together with invisible threads, working 2 jobs, raising 2 children, and pretending she's fine. But lately, her 14-year-old daughter Maya has been drifting, moody, withdrawn, and distant. Naomi doesn't know what's happening. She blames it on teenage hormones, social media, that TikTok nonsense. But deep down, something feels familiar. A cold, quiet ache she's tried to forget. It started one evening when Naomi found Maya's sketchbook. Inside, a page read, "Sometimes I feel like Mom doesn't even like me, just tolerates me." Naomi froze. Her heart cracked, but not because of the words, because they echoed something she once wrote in her own teenage journal 25 years ago. "Mom always looks angry. I think I'm the reason she's tired all the time." The same words, the same wound, passed down like an unwanted heirloom. For the first time, Naomi saw herself, not just as a mother, but as a mirror of her own mother, Lydia. A woman who loved deeply, but never healed from her own brokenness. She sat on the edge of the bed that night, staring into the dim light, asking herself quietly, "Am I becoming the very pain I swore I'd protect my daughter from?" The next morning, the tension between them was unbearable. "Morning, Maya," Naomi said, forcing a smile. Maya barely looked up from her phone. "You're always angry, Mom. Why do you even talk to me if you're just going to yell later?" Naomi felt her chest tighten. "I'm not angry. I'm just tired," she snapped. Maya's eyes welled up. "That's what Grandma used to say to you, and now you're saying it to me." Silence filled the kitchen, the kind that feels heavier than shouting. This is where many families lose each other, not in big explosions of conflict, but in the quiet erosion of empathy. It's the generational pattern psychologists call emotional inheritance. When unhealed wounds, unresolved grief, or suppressed anger silently pass from one generation to the next. Naomi wasn't a bad mother. She was a wounded one, trying to give love from a heart that never learned how to receive it. That night, she called her younger brother Eli, who now lived in London. "Do you ever think about Mom?" she asked softly. Eli chuckled bitterly. "Every day, but I've made peace with it." Naomi sighed. I thought I did too, but now I see her in me. Every time I raise my voice at Maya, it's like I'm replaying her script. Eli went quiet, then said something that would haunt her. Naomi, maybe Mom didn't mean to hurt us. Maybe she just never learned another way. That line pierced her heart. Never learned another way. That was it. Her mother wasn't cruel, she was conditioned, raised in survival, not softness, trained to work, not talk, to endure, not express. And now Naomi was doing the same, demanding perfection from a child, just craving connection. Later that week, Maya came home late from school. Naomi panicked and called her phone over and over. When Maya finally walked in, Naomi exploded, fear masked as fury. Where have you been? Do you want me to lose my mind? I was worried sick. Maya snapped back. You don't care. You just want to control me. Her words stung because Naomi remembered yelling the same thing to her mother in 1999. History was repeating itself, louder this time. As tears streamed down Naomi's face, she whispered to herself, this isn't who I want to be. She realized healing isn't about blaming the past, it's about breaking the pattern. But can a family truly rewrite its emotional inheritance? But what happens when the truth finally comes out? If you're touched by this story, comment Marriage with Wisdom, share it with loved ones, and subscribe for more real-life stories that heal hearts on Responsible Parenting TVC. And don't forget to turn on your notification bell. The next part might just change how you see love forever. Naomi hadn't spoken to her mother, Lydia, in almost 8 years. Their last conversation ended with slammed doors, raised voices, and the kind of silence that feels permanent. But after finding Maya's note and recognizing the echo of her own childhood pain, Naomi knew. If she wanted to heal, she had to go back. Not to blame, not to win, but to understand. That weekend, she booked a one-way bus ticket to Johannesburg, where Lydia now lived alone in a small flat. The ride felt endless. 6 hours of memories replaying like old home videos, birthdays, scoldings, the nights her mother worked double shifts, and the mornings she woke up to the sound of Lydia crying quietly in the kitchen. When Naomi finally stood before her mother's door, her heart pounded like she was 14 again. Her hand trembled as she knocked. A voice from inside said softly, "Who is it?" Naomi's throat tightened. "It's me, Mom. It's Naomi." There was a pause, long enough to feel like rejection. Then the door opened. Lydia stood there, frailer than Naomi remembered. Time had humbled her once fierce eyes, but something about her still radiated quiet strength. They stared at each other, no words, just decades of unspoken feelings hanging between them. Finally, Lydia whispered, "You came." Naomi nodded, tears spilling down. "I didn't come to fight, Mom. I just can't keep running from what we never talked about." Inside, the air was thick with memories. The same faded floral curtains, the same chipped teacups, the same heavy silence. Lydia made tea, avoiding eye contact. "So, how are the kids?" she asked cautiously. Naomi hesitated. "They're okay. Maya's growing fast, maybe too fast." Lydia smiled faintly. "You were like that too, always questioning, always emotional. I never knew how to handle it." Naomi looked at her mother, really looked, and saw something she never saw before: fear. "Mom," she said quietly, "why were you always so angry at me?" The question cracked the air open like lightning. Lydia froze. The cup in her hand rattled slightly. "I wasn't angry at you, Naomi," she said after a long pause. "I was angry at life." Her voice quivered. I was raising you alone after your father left, working in that textile factory. No help, no rest, no peace. Every time I yelled, it wasn't because of you, it was because I was drowning, and you were the only one who saw it. Naomi's eyes filled. But I didn't know that then, Mom. I thought I was the problem. Lydia nodded slowly. And I thought you hated me because every time you looked at me, I saw your father's face, the man who promised me forever and gave me scars instead. That moment broke something, but also mended something deeper. For the first time, both women realized they had been living inside the same pain from different sides. That evening, Lydia took out an old photo album, yellowed edges, pages torn from time. "This was your grandfather," she said softly, pointing to a black and white photo. "He never told me he loved me, not once. When I cried, he told me to be strong. When I was scared, he said, 'Life doesn't care about your feelings.'" Naomi whispered, "And you believed him." Lydia nodded. "I did, until the day I lost your father. Then I passed it on. The same strength, the same silence, to you." The generational chain was clear now. Pain had traveled like a secret message from grandfather to mother to daughter, each one learning survival but forgetting softness. Later that night, Naomi stepped outside to call Maya. "Maya, baby, I'm with Grandma." A long pause on the line. "Really? You said you'd never talk to her again." Naomi smiled weakly. "I know, but I realized sometimes healing means revisiting the places that hurt." Maya sighed. "I wish you told me that before you yelled at me the other night." Naomi's voice broke. "I'm sorry, Maya. I'm learning. I want to do better for both of us." For the first time in years, they didn't hang up angry. They just breathed. The next morning, Naomi woke up to find Lydia cooking breakfast, softly humming an old hymn. "Your grandmother used to sing that," Lydia said. "I never realized how much I missed peace." Naomi smiled through tears. "Maybe we can find it again, together." But just as the moment softened, Lydia reached for a folded letter on the counter. "This came a month ago," she said, "from your father." Naomi froze. "What?" Lydia handed her the letter, trembling. "He wants to see you. He's dying." The air went still. 3 generations, 3 stories, all about to collide. But what happens when the truth finally comes out? If you're touched by this story, comment "Marriage with Wisdom," share it with loved ones, and subscribe for more real-life stories that heal hearts on Responsible Parenting TVC. And don't forget to turn on your notification bell. The next part might just change how you see love forever. Naomi sat in the hospital waiting room, her hands cold and trembling. The scent of antiseptic filled the air, but what she smelled most was fear. Not of death, but of unfinished conversations. Her father, Richard, had been gone for over 30 years. He'd left when she was barely 7, a memory shaped by slammed doors, shouting, and the sound of a car driving away while her mother cried in silence. Now, that same man, the ghost of her childhood, was lying in a hospital bed, dying of liver failure. As Naomi waited, flashes of her mother's life played in her mind. Lydia's exhaustion, her bitterness, her buried sadness, and then Maya's silence, her rebellion, her tears. 3 generations, 3 versions of the same story. When the nurse finally said, "You can go in now," Naomi's heart nearly stopped. Inside the dim hospital room, a frail man lay surrounded by the steady beeping of machines. His once strong hands now looked paper thin. His eyes flickered open slowly, and when they met Naomi's, the years seemed to collapse into a single moment. He whispered, voice cracking, "You look just like your mother." and a little like the girl I ran away from. Naomi's lips quivered. You didn't just run from her, Dad. You ran from me. Richard looked away. I know. For a long time, silence hung heavy between them, the kind of silence that carried more weight than words ever could. Then suddenly, Naomi found herself asking the question she had rehearsed in her mind for years. Why did you leave us? He took a deep breath, eyes misty. Because I was broken, Naomi. I grew up in a home where love was something you had to earn, where men didn't talk, didn't cry, didn't stay. I promised myself I'd be different, but when life got hard, I did exactly what I swore I never would. I left, and I've regretted it every day since. Naomi swallowed hard. Do you know what it did to me? To Mom? To Maya? I do now, he whispered. And I wish I could fix it, but maybe you can break the chain. Tears streamed down Naomi's cheeks. She took his hand, fragile, shaking, and said softly, I don't know if I can forgive you yet, but I don't want to hate you anymore. Richard smiled faintly, relief washing over his face. That's enough. He closed his eyes, breathing slower. Tell your mother. I'm sorry. Tell her she deserved better. Naomi held his hand until it went cold. When he took his last breath, something inside her finally broke, not in pain, but in release. For the first time in decades, the silence felt peaceful. Later that night, Naomi sat on her mother's old porch with Lydia and Maya. The three of them huddled under a single blanket. Three women, three wounds, three hearts trying to heal. Lydia spoke first. He called me once before he got sick. I couldn't pick up. I told myself I didn't care, but I did. Naomi nodded. I saw him today. He was sorry, Mom. Really sorry. Lydia's eyes welled up. Maybe that's enough. Maybe we all did what we could with what we had. Maya, quiet until now, whispered, I don't want to end up like you guys, angry, scared to talk. I want to do better. Naomi turned to her, tears glistening. And you will, baby, because we're learning to talk now, to feel, to forgive. That night, Naomi wrote a letter she never planned to send. It read, Dear Dad, I forgive you. I understand now that broken people break others, but healed people heal others. I want to be the one who ends it here, the pain, the silence, the shame. Maya deserves a different story, and so do I. She folded the letter and placed it under a candlelight on the porch. As the flame flickered, she whispered a prayer. May every wound in this family become a doorway to healing. May our daughters never carry the pain we didn't know how to name. When parents pass down their wounds, they don't just pass down pain, they pass down patterns. But every generation has a chance to rewrite the story, to choose love over anger, empathy over pride, and forgiveness over fear. Healing doesn't always start with the ones who hurt you. Sometimes it starts with you. If this story touched you, tell us in the comments. What do you think it means to break generational pain in today's families? Remember, healing starts with awareness and grows through honest conversations. If this story inspired you, like, share, and comment Marriage with Wisdom. Subscribe to Responsible Parenting TVC for more powerful real-life stories that heal homes, hearts, and generations. May every home watching this find peace, empathy, and the courage to start again, no matter what yesterday looked like. This is Responsible Parenting TVC, responsible parenting tips for caring kids. Stay with us for more inspiring parenting lessons, powerful real-life stories, and daily guidance to help you raise children who are caring, responsible, and ready to thrive.